What's up, Rocket League player? In this video, I'm going to show you how to start air dribbling in less than 24 hours. Let's roll. My name is Woodpecker, and yes, you heard me correctly. If you follow these tips and training packs I'm going to show you, then you'll be air dribbling in less than 24 hours. This is assuming that you already know the basics of aerials, car control, and off-the-wall play. If you are a brand new player to the game, it is very unlikely that you will have this mechanic down in one day. If you feel like you're becoming stressed during this process, that is a completely normal side effect of learning a new Rocket League mechanic. However, if the stress continues after you stop playing the game, you may need to consult your doctor. Woodpecker tutorials are not liable for any damage that may occur to your controller, gaming console, computer, monitor, or any property actually at any time during this training period or at any time during your life. So first, let's talk about the mechanics that you need. The first one is basic aerial control. You will need to be able to freely control the direction, height, and speed that your car is traveling in the air. Pretty similar to this. If you're able to move from goal box to goal box while staying in the air and correcting your car so that it doesn't hit the walls, you should be good to go. And the other mechanic you'll need is just good car control in general, especially for coming off of the wall. Oftentimes when players go up the wall, their perspective changes and they accidentally turn the wrong direction. So if you're pretty comfortable with that, and you're really good at air rolling your car off the wall, you should be good to go in learning air dribbles. Air dribbles can be broken down into three main parts. The first one, setup. The second one, first touch. And the third one, follow through / aiming. So, the setup. The better you are at setting up the ball, the easier steps 2 and 3 are going to be. So, step 1. Getting the ball up the wall. This one is simple, but easy to mess up. To make sure you have a clean setup, make the ball roll up the wall as opposed to sliding up the wall. This will help keep the ball closer to the wall and make your first hit even easier. Your goal should be to get the ball pretty close to 1/3 of the way up the wall, with your car traveling close behind it. Speaking of your car, you don't want to be traveling straight up the wall at this point. You want your car to be approaching from a slight angle. What this is doing is lining up the entire shot. The less car movements you have to make on the wall and in the air will lead to a cleaner air dribble, at least for new players. Pros, freestylers can do literally whatever they want. I mean, for real, those guys have a legit big brain hacks. Anyways, by approaching from an angle and hitting the ball from a slight angle, that will start getting all the momentum in the direction of the goal. If you drive straight up and hit it, you'll end up having to correct a lot in the air. And if you drive in from the side, then that puts the ball too far in front of you and it starts heading to the ground too fast. Ultimately, you want a nice loft into the air that is heading towards the goal. Lastly, and the most important part, is how you hit the ball. You don't want to bang it off the wall, but you also don't want to hit it too softly. Sadly, there is no secret speed or indicator for you to tell if you're going to hit it correctly. This one all comes down to repetition and practice. Training packs are the absolute best thing for this because it lets you do the movement over and over and over again. I made this training pack for you for this practice. Now, as soon as you hit the ball, jump and air roll correct your car to face the ball. This should be a very fluid motion. A lot of players I've seen have a tendency to keep driving up the wall just a little bit and then jump after they make contact with the ball. However, this will often cause your car to be too far above the ball, which makes it difficult to get back underneath the ball into the sweet spot, which I'll talk about that in a second. They also have a tendency to jump off the wall and then air roll correct themselves, which takes up too much time. If you want a nice crisp air dribble, you'll want to keep your car as close to the ball as possible while being oriented in the right direction. Step 2, the first touch. Before you actually hit the ball, here's a little pro tip for you. You are trying to match the speed of your car with the speed of the ball. This will help make sure that the first touch is very soft. It's kind of like the ball is landing softly in your car, in the air, and once it lands on your car, you are simply pushing it through the air and into the goal. I mean, it's that simple, guys, right? The second part of the first touch is your angle of approach. Let me demonstrate what that means. The angle of your car controls the direction of your momentum. You want the direction of your momentum to be traveling through the center of the ball while contacting the sweet spot. Speaking of which, where is that? In all honesty, There are several places that you can push the ball from, and they are all circumstantial. However, for a basic air dribble, and to get you familiar with the movement, you'll want to hit the ball in this sweet spot right here. When your car is at the right angle, if you're contacting it in the sweet spot, it will give it the perfect mixture between momentum forward and momentum upward, thus creating the air dribble. So at this point, we've gotten the ball into the air, which is great, and we've contacted the ball with our first touch, which was very soft, and at this point, which is very stressful, you have the ball under your control in the air, sitting on the nose of your car. This brings us on to the last 2 points, which are follow through and aiming. You've probably heard this phrase before, but for a good amount of control on the ball, you'll want to feather your boost. Feathering means you are tapping on your boost button as opposed to holding it down the entire time. Keep in mind, there are plenty of circumstances where it might be better to hold down your boost, but as a beginner at air dribbling, it's good practice to feather your boost instead. What this will do is keep your car locked onto the ball, maximizing your car control and your ability to aim. When you're thinking about where to place the shot, I like to shift my aim up by 1/2 of the goal, meaning I look at this zone when I'm going for the shot. This helps me keep my shot placements higher, which makes it a little bit more difficult to save. This will also subconsciously train you on how to keep your air dribbles higher for longer. If you watched all that and understand it, that's awesome. You're on your way to start air dribbling in less than a day. However, I didn't want to just stop at the how. I also want to share with you the when to air dribble. The last thing you'll want to do is master this technique and be that one guy on the team who is constantly only going for air dribbles. Number one, that becomes extremely predictable, and number two, most situations don't warrant a good time for you to even go for the shot. So let's talk about good circumstances, keeping in mind that this is not an all-inclusive list. Rather, these are common scenarios that would serve beneficial for you to try it. The first one is when your team obtains possession after being on defense. This could be a good recovery on the save, or your team wins a 50-50 that was in your favor. Oftentimes, and especially in lower ranks, the opposing team will likely be more focused on heading back towards the goal, rather than contesting you and the ball. This will give you time to collect boost and begin your setup. Number two is when the other team overcommits. This happens all of the time in both higher ranks and lower ranks. The most common is the double commit, which leaves the opposing team completely exposed. Unfortunately, you've trained yourself to naturally clear the ball to the left or to the right, so you might not have noticed that the enemy goal was completely open. Rest assured, because you cleared it to the side, and now you've mastered the air dribble, you are still able to capitalize on the open net and score that clutch goal. Number three is when the other team pulls back to defense. If the opposing team has bad rotation, they could abandon their offensive push and leave you completely uncontested. This is a great opportunity for a lot of things. In twos, which is what I main, it is common to go for a lot of solo plays because passes can leave you very vulnerable if one of you mess up. Because of that, it's a great time to go for an air dribble. At the very least, it will likely cause the opposing team to panic, potentially getting a bad save, and allow your teammate to get the easy shot, or at least maintain possession. The last one I want to mention is when the other team is low on boost. If you have built up the habit of tracking the other team's boost, which I highly encourage, and they're in a defensive position with a low boost, and you have the opportunity to go for an air dribble, I would highly encourage it. With a low boost, it makes it very difficult for them to save shots in the upper fourth of the net. And even if they are able to save it, the hit off of the save will likely be slow, once again giving your teammate a free ball or a free shot. So there you have it, the keys and fundamentals to hitting crisp air dribbles. And along with that, when to use it. So if you got anything of value out of this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.